is.
And so somewhere, unless it's straightforward,
It's pretty straightforward, and but if he can reach out to me personally,
Okay,
and I
that's because
can guide him along. But it's pretty
We'll have to
straightforward.
turn down all the lights, our sunlights maybe, if you all.
I don't know
Can
if
we
I'm
go out
first
there
or
and
what I'm
sit?
doing. I was just.
Sure.
leave
Okay,
it.
let's get an approval of the agenda before we start here.
I'll make a motion.
And I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And TV then.
Oh, searching?
You're up.
Okay, hold on, we're just going out there.
Oh, so you can see. Good idea.
It's
Can you see?
pretty much just
I'm good right
breaking
here.
down.
I'm gonna take notes. Can you sit back?
Do you want to pass?
Sure. I can do that for you.
Yeah, I want to go down here too.
Yeah. You want to help me?
I might be able to do that.
You want to help teacher?
Okay, so we had a total of 49 applications come through amongst the 3 different applications.
What's that?
A set for Pam.
Absolutely. Okay, each one of these.
And I can send these via email too. This is just dividing out the, each of the applications, the applicants. So we had a total of 4 of the mental slash behavioral health and wellness applications. We had 29 nonprofit and 16 small business for a total of 49 applitions. Which is pretty good compared to yesterday morning, we only had 8 submitted. So this is pretty good. Right, yes. Yes, poor Tara, I was keeping her email and phone hot with questions. So like I said, this is just how we exported it from our site. So, you know, there's going to be I noticed some spelling errors that the applicants did. So you'll see all of that on there, but just wanted to divide it out. And you're also going to see all of the same information plus more on your portal. So I sent each of you an email this afternoon with your credentials to log in. So this is the direct link to the login page. And so I recommend, especially during...
Okay, what emails did you use? Did you use our county emails?
I don't think so.
It came through my personal one.
Did it come to your personal? Okay.
Because of the issue that we're having.
Right, that's why I'm
Yes.
asking it,
Charlie,
because
I sent yours.
CD underscore?
Yep.
Okay,
Is that
thank you.
good?
Yeah, I
And I
haven't, I
think
haven't pulled
everybody
it out.
else
Okay,
was their personal.
okay, thank you.
No worries. So I went ahead and created, using your email address, and just created, you'll see in there, it's a temporary password for security purposes. As soon as you log in with that temporary password, it'll ask you to update it.
Okay.
And I do recommend, so I did send the direct link to this login page. You're going to be visiting this login page quite a bit over the next few weeks, so I do recommend putting it in your toolbar. Otherwise, it can be a pain to try to sift through our website to find this login page. So once you log in with your credentials, it's going to take you, and each of you have your own applications to view. You won't be able to see any other scores. You'll just look at your applications, and then we'll be able to pull those together at the end. And Aaron, I'm just going to proxy in as you just...
I was going to sign in as me, so I won't.
Well, it shouldn't mess it up. Okay, so once you log in with your credentials, this is going to take you to your dashboard. So this is like your landing page that it'll take you each time where you can come in, pick right back up where you left off. You can see here that right now that red bar is indicating that all applications have not been started, have not been completed. So eventually you'll see kind of a yellow mark once you start to complete some evaluations. You'll see that red turn yellow, and then those are the in progress ones. Once you start to complete them, it'll turn green. By the deadline, we want that entire line to be green. And so it has the whole list of all of the applicants here. You can you can kind of organize it by the process, organize it by project name. You can play around with it a little bit, whatever works best for you. And then to access the application as well as the evaluation sheet, you will simply, by each line, you will simply select the Start button, and that's going to take you into the application, and right next to it is the evaluation. So what you're going to see up top is just the organization's information. So this is what they had to include to create an account. So very basic information up here. And then on your right side, and you can flip them as well, whatever you feel most comfortable with, having the application on one side, evaluation on the other, or you can kind of take your arrow and make it, you know, bigger, smaller. But you'll see the application is here. And sometimes it might be nice to download it as a PDF and view just the application. So, and in this case, this, you know, if you're more of the person that likes to print out or anything, or want to see just this, it'll download just their application with their answers, with their information. So you'll see all same information, just, you know, a different setup. All of this, it's kind of hard to see, but you'll see any of their attachments. So you can view, like a document viewer is any of the attachments that they included. So you can view the attachments that way. You can also download the attachments as a PDF. So lots of flexibility with that and how you want to view, or how you best like to view the information. Or you can just kind of take a look at it really quickly. And so all of their information is in here. So this is what they completed within their application. And that takes you to the end of their application. So you can view it different ways. And then on the right side or left side, whichever way you would like to view it, is your evaluation packet or your evaluation sheet. And I apologize, I kind of misunderstood the Excel document a little bit.
No apologies from me. Miscommunication from me. So
All good.
I took that on my shoulders.
All good. So I divided under each category that was provided. I then broke out the subcategories
Can I say something on
for
that?
1 to 4.
I think it would be hard to do the project overview and score all of those with one score. Because one of those you may want to score it high, and then one of those you may want to score it low.
Absolutely, and that's what we kind of discussed it at the last meeting. I know you weren't able to make it, but it's, when it's in rubric form, what you do when you look at that is, you may have something that's a 4 and something that's a 1, and everything else is a 3. And you have to average that out in your mind where that goes for that one area, for the whole project overview. Something will be thrown askew if you don't do that. If I were looking at that and it's in rubric form, like if you were looking at it, I don't have one of those rubrics with me, but if it were in that, I might actually, I do have one maybe. Yes, I do have one. When it's in that form, so what you would do in that form, like in project overview, you'd go through on challenges and benefits, and you would maybe circle here, oh, I think it's here, I think it's here, I think it's here. Overall, where does that fall? And what you, if most of my marks were in the 2, I would give it the 2. If most of my marks were in the 3, you would give it the 3. And that's just standard how rubrics work. And so if I'm grading each category under here, and it's a 1, a 1, a 1, a 2, a 1, a 1, most of my marks are in the 1, so it's a 1. If most of my marks are in the 4, then it's a 4. But that's a standard way that rubrics
So
work.
let's say you have 1 for 1, 1 for 2, 1 for 3, 1 for 4.
Then if I had that, if I had one, first of all, I don't think it would work that way just because that group all goes together. And if you do have that, then you would probably mark it a 2 or a 3 in the middle somewhere.
There could be a compromise on this that I'd like to throw out, in the sense that she's already set it up to where you can put a score on each individual one of the questions. If we left it that way and you wanted to just score each individual question and then have an average, then you could do that, the way it's set up now. We could do that mathematically on the back
I mean,
end.
if you guys have already agreed.
But the whole overall, I think, needs to be a number at the end, because the 35% is what you're gonna times that number by.
Right.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? I don't have if you leave it the way it is now, it would work mathematically for those, but I myself, I would do the rubric and I'd mark each one of them 2, so I knew it was a 2 at the end. So I think it's better the other way. I think it's better the way that we have it, but.
But if you mark a score the same, it's not being truthful to, you know, let's say challenges and benefits, let's say they get a 4 on that, but the measuring success is a 1. It's, you know, so it's not true to the score.
Well, each individual score is overall. You just take the overall of what that is. I mean, I've scored essays and other things like this for scholarships this way.
Mhm.
And basically, there might be 3 or 4 criteria, but there's only 1 score in the end. And that, you know. And I've done it just like she said. I go in and I circle the box that I think fits. And then I look at it and mentally decide, is that a 3 or is that a 4 or what is that?
Okay.
And I will certainly make that adjustment. If, depending on, because I have to work with my supervisor on it, so depending on her availability tomorrow, maybe tomorrow or Monday before we can get that updated.
It's fine.
But
And
it's-
does everybody have, Greg emailed the
Yes.
finals, does everybody have that?
They're on the website.
I mean, I'm just gonna.
Thank you for that,
Oh, on the
Greg.
website, you're right, you're right, I forgot about that, thank you.
Okay, so I will make those updates to reflect 1 score per category. So kind of imagine that that's what you're seeing right now. And so you will just then, you know, as you're looking through, you can score 1 as you go or however you would like. But you would just select 1 through 4 and it will kind of, as you're on the page, it'll save it, but you'll want to make sure before you move on to the next one, or if you're in the middle of it and want to come back to it, you'll want to make sure that you select the save button down at the bottom. And I did leave the comment section in there.
Sure.
When we do our grants and scholarships, sometimes it's nice, because you're going to review 49 of them. So sometimes it's nice just to have your own little personal note about your thoughts. So then when you guys come back to deliberate or something, you will then be able to view your comments. So sometimes that's nice, especially when you're looking at 49 of them.
And a real quick question, if I went through that and then I save it as partial, I can always go back and revisit it?
Absolutely.
I can do nothing and read just the narrative?
Absolutely.
And go back to
Yep.
it? And I also can have it completely filled out, sleep on it and think I might want to change that and I can go, okay.
Yep, so and that's a good point, Randy. So let's say that you have completed it all, and then maybe your first 5, you've completed all of them, and then you're realizing like, ooh, I want to look at this a little differently. And so yes, all you've got to do is just, if you selected a 4, then you come in and you selected 2 or 3. You just change it and press save. And so nothing is final until the deadline when we
pull the
export.
data.
Yep, when we pull the
So
data.
Greg, I can do all mine on paper and then.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. I was gonna make copies of the for each one.
I was trying to say some of my committee members still do.
Can you show them the PDF?
On paper.
So you can,
So you can actually print a
you
PDF.
can download the
as well.
evaluation packet as well. And it'll be in PDF format, so it's going to have the
Oh,
organizations.
no, I meant the application. You can download the application in PDF format, can't you?
As far as,
What they filled out?
yes, yeah, right up here, what we clicked on a little bit ago, so
Oh, I'm
right
sorry.
here. No, you're fine. So yes, you can download their application, and it'll have all of the information that they filled in. But also, too, once I update the rubric, you can download the evaluation packet as well, and it'll have their individual information, and then you can score that way. You can print this off too. So lots of different options with it on different ways to view it, how you would like to view it. But certainly if you're halfway through, if you're all the way done, make sure you select that save button. And the system's really good too about showing you when you're back to this page. It'll show you, like, it won't have the score finalized, like if you've only filled in 2 sections on that evaluation, it's not going to populate a score yet. And once it is complete, it'll populate the score and do a check mark. And then this bar will slowly turn green as well. So it helps you keep track of that.
And if it's getting close and the bar's really red, Emily will call you.
I will.
Trust me.
Exactly.
So that bar is reflective to us, to our.
Your individual one, yep, so
Not
what's
what
on your
everybody
page?
else.
So see, I'm just, like, I'm Erin right now, so all I'm seeing is Erin's stuff and nothing else, and she won't, it's not going to reflect if, Randy completes one, it's not going to reflect on Erin's page.
Is there a different dashboard for each application?
As far as evaluation sheet and everything, yep, so when you're done with one, you just go right down to the next one and select start again.
I apologize. In that
Category.
list, is all of them in that list, or is
Oh.
there 3 different lists?
They are all in that list, but they have, you'll notice, they'll have, I think the evaluation sheets were pretty similar, but each one will,
Have their own.
on the back end, we've specified, like, these are all the nonprofit ones, so we've specified the nonprofit evaluation sheet to go with that one.
You can see the,
Yep, and you can see it all right here, and like I said, you can, so if you want to change up your processes, and so you'll see small business will all be in a chunk. And then nonprofit mental health is all in a chunk here. And then, so I just kind of switched it up here. So that's how you can view it differently, skip around, it's not going to hurt anything, not going like we said, it's not going to hurt if you go in, score a little bit, come back out of it. Or some like to go in to each one and look at the applications first and then come back in and score. So really it's just what process works best for you, as long as they're all completed with a score and that bar is green by the deadline, by the time we export.
What did we set as the deadline?
I'm not sure.
August the 8th, right?
August.
August?
Oh.
April the 8th.
Dang.
Is that,
Still, April the 8th is pretty fast.
It is
yeah, I know,
fast.
that's what I'm
And then
thinking.
Because your meeting is,
I have a question. Okay,
Yes.
so what if we
We
have,
got August on the brain.
one of the committee members, what if we have a conflict of interest and we can't score it?
That's what these are for?
Yeah, but how does
How
that
do we
affect
know?
our
You-
dashboard?
It doesn't.
It's not gonna.
On the back end, it's taking effect.
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha.
So if you, so let's say that you do have a conflict of interest. You don't even have to score, and your bar's still going to show red a little bit, but it's not going to, we're going to know why it shows.
Okay, I just
Yeah.
want to make sure
Yep.
you're not going to say, hey, Terry, you forgot.
No, you're good, you're good.
She might, but you can tell her why.
Yeah, you can tell me why. So April 8th is, we're saying is the deadline to have the applications reviewed.
At a certain time?
When is the meeting for you all to deliberate then, to bring the scores together? The 12th?
When we hand the money out.
So you're deciding and handing the money out on the 12th?
I think that's what our plan was.
Well, we can't hand it out because.
No,
I mean, we'll have
You
to.
could have-
It's a board announcement.
Well, I mean, you announce it, but it's still got to go through the whole rigmarole, so it's still, council still has to appropriate that part of it, I think, so.
So on the.
This
so
year's are done.
If we close it on the 8th, is a Friday, and then Tuesday, so that would give me Monday to, and depending Friday what time we end, to export, and then I always like to provide my committees with the scores ahead of time prior to the meeting, so you all can take a look. So I would maybe recommend like noon on the 8th.
That's what I.
Some,
I
you know, a little
think
bit
noon would be
earlier so
fine.
that I have the
Yeah.
afternoon to
After
start
she,
exporting.
after she exports it, me and her's got to get together because we
Right.
gotta do the
So,
math part of
Does
it.
Yes.
noon work for you? I mean, does that sound all right?
Sure.
Okay.
So,
Okay, right.
let's say we all put our scores in, are we going to get this spreadsheet that's, or something that's gonna be generated off?
We will export it, and then
Okay.
me and her will do the math magic on the back end of it, and then we'll make that all presented to you, the whole spreadsheet.
And the
So,
public.
is that?
Whoever,
Yeah.
whoever at that point.
Is that going, because here's the other thing we have to think about. We have
Once it goes to
buckets
us,
of-
it's
We have
public.
buckets of money for each one of those.
Right.
We may have to adjust.
In the spreadsheet, what I'm gonna have is, well, I'm gonna have a yes, no as to whether it's granted. So the night that, on the 12th, we will have the spreadsheet up on the screen. We will go through it, and as we grant them, we'll mark them yes, and that will show us our total at the bottom.
Because in the questions, some of them will say, will you take less? If we have more asked than what we have in the bucket,
It'll all be in the
that's gonna have to
spreadsheet.
be a committee decision.
That'll be
It'll
done.
all be in the spreadsheet.
That's all taking
All be
place
done
on
on
the
that
12th.
screen.
Yeah,
right there.
So that meeting
why-
could be quite long, right?
That's why we were
Yeah.
starting at 4:00.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, I
we
would
thought
say.
it'll be well attended, and we've got to sort through those details.
Now, next, and we also said that that's gonna be at the depot.
Depot.
Right.
Correct.
Is there a way you can call out those ones that are, I don't know, like if the ask is a little bit, like if they'll accept?
Yeah,
a
so what I
different
can
amount?
do is, when I, in the system, when I go to export, I can select which questions out of the application that I want on the Excel document.
Okay.
So I can select that I want that question to show up
Okay.
on the Excel document, and then you guys can see that on the side, that if they said yes or no. So we're saying April 8th at noon to have your applications done by, or your evaluations, my apologies. And then, do you all have my cell phone number?
I do.
No.
Because that's going to be the easiest way, you can call or text me.
Can you go ahead and?
81,
Do you want that on my street?
oh, I don't really care, it's public knowledge, everybody has it. 812-619-0734. Yeah, it's kind of my work phone, so. So yes, so call, text me on that with any questions that you have in regards to the evaluations, or, you know, if you run into a hiccup. But I did proxy in as each of you this afternoon to make sure that you had all of the applications assigned to you, so shouldn't be any surprises there.
I want to commend you for everything you've done. You've done an amazing job with this whole thing. You really have.
Thank you.
Very much.
It's definitely been a learning experience, and I've enjoyed, it was a little busy this week, but I had several organizations and individuals in and out of my office, and so it was really nice meeting them, and I had lots of phone calls, and but I really enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, this was a lot of work for you.
So, but we did it, we did it. So, so yeah, we'll touch base after the 8th, and I will, as soon as I get the evaluation sheet updated, so please kind of, you can take a look at all the applications all you want tonight. If you want to go home and do that as your bedtime story, have at it, take a look at it, but don't score yet, because I will update the evaluation, and I'll email you all when that's updated.
Collecting these.
Yeah, when we get through them.
All right, so that's all I
No
got.
other questions?
No, thank you.
You were so welcome, you were so welcome.
Real quick, we did have a lot of questions from small businesses pertaining to, you know, they have like 1099. They're not employees, but they're staff, but they didn't know if they should include them as employees. There were some nonprofits that,
1099 would be generated for a contract.
yeah.
So,
They're not an employee, that's all.
yeah.
So, and then the other one is, there was a lot where some, like churches, they don't file taxes, but they file a form with the IRS. So I told them that would be included.
Yeah.
I think churches would have to file a 990 nonprofit.
It's a theirs is different, it's not a 990. And then the other one was, let's see, the businesses for sole proprietor, because they didn't, was that one that you had too? Yeah. You know, they didn't have like an EIN number.
I had one of those too. I told them to use their social security number.
Yeah.
That becomes what their identifier
Right.
is.
One of them
Fill out
had,
the
one,
form.
oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's all right.
One of them actually paid employees, so they had an FID number, so I told them to use that too. So just some way that we know that they actually have a business and identifying them, so.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to make note while you guys were scoring these, because I took a lot of questions, I hope I answered them okay. I tried to copy you guys, but I didn't realize your emails were down. The other one was, I had a couple of calls saying, you know, we actually had a decent year in 2020, believe it or not, but in 2021, I started having trouble keeping staff. I started having to pay more to keep staff, and I just told them to make sure they documented all that.
Yep.
So that they
Narrative.
could clearly, yeah. I can't think of what else. Emily, do you recall anything else that, there were so many.
There were so many scattered questions. A lot of it was related to, you know, well, my organization's a little bit different than this, and, you know,
Mhm.
what kind of form exactly do I need?
Business entity was another one.
Yeah.
The numbers are way different, so the characters,
Yes, we
Yeah.
did have to expand the
character,
character limit.
mhm.
Some of them are only 9 characters, and others are 14, 17 characters, so.
And what was that had that long of a number?
Their business, or their Secretary of State business ID.
mhm.
Oh, Indiana
Yeah.
versus federal.
Yeah.
Some are 13, some are 16.
Yeah. That was the main one. And then a lot of people, you know, I don't have a scanner, I don't know how to upload this. And
Or
so
I
we-
don't have P&L statements, or,
Yeah.
that was a big one.
Yeah, with the tax year, not having the tax returns.
Yep, some people did not have 2021 tax returns filed yet, so we got to think about that. So I just told them to include as many, the last 3 years that they do have.
Yeah, I told one of them, I said, instead of your tax one, do a profit to loss and
Yeah.
use that,
Yeah.
so.
And that's what I told them too.
I had a question about wanting to send attachments, but like if maybe it was the nonprofit one didn't have the option for attachments or something. Was there one that didn't?
What, for like a additional document
Like
or
supporting
something?
documentation.
And so you will, I guess I did forget to mention that, but, and that was only, yeah, it was only, there was only one organization, it was the Chamber of Commerce, and they had an additional document to provide, but didn't have an upload space for it. So you'll see at the top up there, right above the organization's information, there's a section that says documents, comments, things like that, and I uploaded that in the documents section. And you'll see a 1 by, you know, you'll see that it,
Single item.
yep. And then, but yes, so that was,
And somebody else had asked me about that too, but you just got one additional.
I just got one additional. And please, I tried to, as much as possible, after 4 o'clock, I went through really quickly and clicked on the document viewer for each application to make sure that sometimes you get some really wonky formats of how they you know, not in PDF format, but like, I guess if you're on a Mac, sometimes if you try to download it as a PDF, it downloads it as a numbers file or something. So I tried to go through and make sure that I could access all of the documents that everyone uploaded. And I could, but if for some reason, if you're going through and there's one that you can't open or it's showing an error, just shoot me a text, and then chances are I either have to, I could upload it on mine and I have to change the format for you all, or I reach it back out to the organization. And I did that a few times today, saying, can you provide it in a different format? So, so if you come across that, chances are you're probably the first person to come across it. So send me a text and I'll get that updated so that you can view their attachments. I think I got it on there.
Anything else? Thank you, Emily.
Absolutely.
Now, the next thing is conflict of interest. If everybody's had their chance. Any organization on there that you're uncomfortable with, we need to get those filled out. And if not, check the box that you're not affiliated with any of them.
I actually have close to half of the small businesses and close to half of the nonprofits as clients. So
I have
I'm
3.
excusing myself from those applications.
Okay.
Half of them?
Yep.
And I have to excuse myself from Perry County CVB because I am a board member.
I will be doing the mental health. There's nobody on there that I'm connected to.
Now, you know, we went through this process of throwing 2 out as long as we had up to 5.
Up to 5.
Yeah.
Fine.
So, do we need to establish anything? Because I've got 1 that I can't participate in.
The spreadsheet will actually determine.
Will
how it
show
is.
us, so we don't have to worry about it. We just
No.
skip over the ones. So Emily, in my case, I'll end up scoring 48. So it'll still appear as I have work to do. In reality, I will not vote on
Yep.
one, so.
Yep, and Greg it'll appear that he's not completed half of them,
Yeah.
and like I said, no need to even go in there and press on anything, because once you press on a button, it'll only let you change the number, it won't let you go back to 0 or
Let's go back to
anything,
zero. So
so
just stay off of it.
stay off of it, yeah.
Are we turning these in to?
Randy.
Okay, that's the only thing that I've seen on any of these that I see I make.
And the front defines that, so
Okay.
if you have a close relative on there, or if you're on a board, or have
Right.
any financial interest,
I know about everybody, but.
yeah, well,
That
I
does-
guess all of us probably, that's probably.
If this qualified for that, we'd be.
Well, we won't have anybody voting. I don't see anything. All right.
You just need to- Yeah, okay, well, you're the one that vote on everybody.
You all need to think about where you're gonna have your next meeting. I don't know if you've all looked into those possibilities
We're
that
having
you
it at the
mentioned.
depot.
It's at the depot at 4 o'clock, April 12th.
We do not plan on meeting prior to that at all.
Yeah, there shouldn't be any need.
Okay.
We should be scoring individually. If we have technology problems, we'll contact her.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, Greg, are you listing all your conflicts?
I just actually did a fraction. I figured that was good enough. I said small business, nonprofit, and I did a
Just
fraction.
not grading those.
I'm not
Any of
grading
them in
those.
there.
I'm not
None
touching-
of them in that
no.
area, yeah.
I don't think it's fair if I got that many.
If you have that many,
Yeah.
yeah,
If it would've been 1 or 2,
that's different.
that's different.
Okay, I have another question. So, and, you know, we divided that up, so-called numbers in each category, the amount. And let's say like mental health doesn't come up to that amount. Can that money be moved over into one of the others?
I think that becomes.
That's in
the-
our long discussion.
That's, yeah, after we get done and go through this whole process, I have no idea where we're going.
Right, exactly, neither do I.
You know, we just go through the process, we do all our calculations, we sat down on the 12th, see where we are at financially. If in a real world, everything works out perfect, we go home.
Yep.
But I don't think it'll happen, and we're gonna have to discuss those issues.
Okay,
And probably then set another meeting, because we do have other funds that will come in.
yes.
We have to decide, you know, just like we had the council meeting, these issues, we just need to initiate a plan for phase 2. I mean, that's what we'll have to do, and how we're gonna address them. And right now, we speculate.
All right,
So
that's
let's see what
fine.
happens.
Yeah, and that, the reason why I said on the 12th, we may not be like, not just handing out money, but we could score and say, hey, these are the individuals that we're gonna grant to. But if we do go through the process of putting it in the council money so that we don't have all this headache, then it may be a little delayed before we actually get the money out. So
Right.
Yeah.
But we're trying to.
I just want to be upfront about that to anybody out there in cyberspace or whatever watching, so.
And also, when the checks are written, would they be written by the auditor to these
At this point, that's the only way that we have.
Yeah, I would
Okay,
think that's.
so
where you can-
basically, anyone that's given a grant will have to become a vendor of the county, so there's paperwork that they're gonna have to fill out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Pam discussed that last time we were here.
Okay.
But we can't have over 49 checks as of today.
Yeah.
Yep, so,
And when I provide the export or the Excel document, I'll also, I can export to like how much they asked for, and then for that section, for that application, we can have a
Total.
total down there, so you guys can kind of see, okay, we only, we set aside this amount for mental health, and we have this requested.
I've kind of worked some of the spreadsheet already, just so that I
Okay.
could have an idea of how to, not numbers obviously, because we don't
Right.
have those. But like you said, what they asked for, and then the other column is, will they take less? If there's a yes in that column, it actually opens up another space for you to say, we're going to not give you the full amount, this is the amount we're going to give you. So I got a kind of a little bit of a plan.
okay, good.
So-
And my perception is we'll take them by group. Does that make sense?
Absolutely makes
So we
sense.
sat down and we went through
Absolutely.
all three groups individually. to-
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we
Could
kind of
we
have
have-
an organized.
If you look at the rubric, not even the number of categories is the same, so we have to kind of do it that way anyway, so.
Any other comments? You ready to go home?
Before you
Yes.
leave, make sure that you did look through the minutes and sign where Pam had indicated if she needed your signatures. Hopefully all of you looked through that already.
You need a motion?
Okay.
Need a motion?
Yep, everybody's ready to go?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Team, bro.
We're out of here.